Rabbit and Blue Radio with the Skeleton Crew, exclusively at horrorbid.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rabbit and Blue Radio with the Skeleton Crew. This is Alex,
Michael J,
and our special guest host,
Dan J.
All right, Friday 13th Part 2. Now, this is my personal favorite Friday 13th, and as you guys know, the friggin' MPAA censored this movie to death. 48 seconds were cut. Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about editing, but that is an incredible amount of time.
It is.
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite too, by the way, Alex. It's I think that and 4 are tied for the best. It's beyond good.
Yeah, this movie, to me, you know how like people love Nightmare 1, Halloween 1, Texas Chainsaw 1, and if you think about it, that was the first introduction to their favorite killers. Well,
right.
Clearly this is Jason's, really. It's just like Part 1, you know?
Yep.
Because you can't really say you loved him in the first movie. He just jumped out of the water.
Yeah, it just doesn't count. I don't care what anybody says. It's considered a dream sequence. It didn't count. So, number 2, you know, the resurgence of Jason. You know, it's iconic. It's legendary. It's epic.
Yeah, it is epic, and having no hockey mask even makes it more. It makes it feel like you were there from the beginning. You saw the evolution of this guy.
Oh, when that mask came on that first time with that one eye sticking out, that was some creepy shit.
Yeah, definitely. Now, in this movie, he was about 33 or 34. Okay, it raises questions. Here's my first biggest... I think this is the biggest mystery of Jason Voorhees ever. Why didn't Jason go back to his mother after he survived that drowning? If he's alive in Part 2 at that age, obviously he didn't really drown. So, if he just, you know, was treading water, coughing a little bit, crawled over to the beach, and was like, shit, I almost died. You know?
I got it.
Okay,
I got
why
it.
didn't he go back to mother? Go ahead.
His mother smothered him, and he couldn't stand being with her. And he wanted to prove to everyone that he could make it on his own.
But his whole life seems to be based on his mother. I mean, he killed...
no. He hates his mother. I mean, I think he has like a deep-seated resentment towards his mother. And then when he sees his mother get decapitated, that just triggers something, and he's just thinking, well, you know what? I should have done it myself.
So you think he has the Norman Bates effect, where Norman was obsessed with his mother, but at the same time, he resented her?
Most definitely.
Really? It's amazing how parallel Friday the 13th is to Psycho. It's very loosely parallel, but it's...
See, my thoughts on it, though, Alex, is I think, my thoughts may be different, but I think what they were going for is, he's a mongoloid, yes. He may have retarded genes in him or whatever you want to call it. So being that young with, something like that, growing up like that, maybe he couldn't comprehend it at the time, So
right.
That's just my take on it. That seems more plausible. Do you know what I mean? Like, that could actually happen. Like, the kid's mentally challenged and he's a young kid. I mean, that, could be confusing.
So you think it's totally fine that he was hanging out with his mom, she did everything for him, she was always there, blah, blah. He drowns and says, F it, I'm going to take off.
Totally.
Right.
It just doesn't make...
You got a good point there, actually.
It just doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, and what, nobody was around when this guy drowned? I don't know.
They were around, they just didn't care.
Okay, my honest thoughts on it, honestly,
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a sequel. We're going to have to figure this out somehow. Hopefully nobody will notice. That's really my take on it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to go with that one. Yeah, you know what? I really like, Dan, I really like to answer these questions as if the movies were real, so if we could just stick to... No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Yeah.
And can we just talk about Amy Steele as far as one of the best heroines throughout all movies, the whole Friday the 13th series? Because I think she's definitely in contention for the top. I mean, that's debatable, but she's one of my favorites, and she still looks hot.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a debate between hillbilly heroin and black tar heroin. I'm not really sure which is my favorite.
Of course, the Blue Magic.
Yeah, Blue Magic. No, yeah, she's my favorite. What about Mike? I'm sure. I think you like Chris from Part 3, right?
I do, but I also like Megan from Part 6.
Yes, she was cool.
Yeah.
Well, I liked Amy Steele too because when she played Jenny, it shows her at the bar, and she almost has a lot invested in it. It seems like throughout the whole series, it kind of got lost. It was just basically like typical girl who's got really no connection to anything except for obviously being on Jason's territory at his camp. But, and she knew about him. She cared enough to, bring it up, and she was sympathetic to it. So I just think that whole setup was really good. And that's why I think it was effective when she puts on the sweater at the end. And, she's basically, it's a mind thing. And it's not just, hey, slasher, I'm going to, trick you and hit you with the thing, which she does, but she uses her brains, and she does it in a way that outsmarts them. And that's what I love about that character.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Like, those little things like that, those scenes that bring you into the, like, she's feeling something. She has depth. And when people with depth are being chased or even get killed, ultimately, that's when it means something. And it's funny because Friday the 13th movies are known as the mindless, fun, stupid movies that are just garbage. And there's no character development. It's line them up, knock them down. And you know what? I don't think it was at this point yet. And you can say even Part 1 was sort of a, knock them off movie, but I don't know, man. I feel like I connected with almost every character to this point.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Entirely you do.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, of course, you don't really connect with Terry unless you really hate to see that ass go. Go to waste.
That was the best nudity in the film, by the way. Actually, it was really the only nudity in the film, but it was the best.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, it was brief.
Right.
But it was very brief, but for that brief moment, yes. It was incredible.
Hey, another thing I wanted to mention about this movie, too. Remember how the two guys, the couple, rather, that sneak off camp? And
Sandra and Jeff. Yep.
Yeah.
Remember they find the dog that looks like, what's
Muffin.
the dog's name? Muffin. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What are the chances that there'd be a dog that looks exactly like the dog that this girl has? Because obviously Muffin makes a triumphant appearance at the end. But I just find that so crazy. Like, it just seemed like a stretch. But it was effective, too, when the dog came back. And then, obviously, that set up the window crash scene, obviously, by, throwing in we made it through, just like the first ending to the first movie. She's almost at the thing. Here comes Jason.
Right.
Same thing. Muffin's okay. All right, we're good. But I just thought that was a little, obviously unbelievable. But then again,
Well, listen, it might be good technique. Think of it like this, Dan. As an audience, you're supposed to be so invested in the fact that you're baffled. Or like, wait a minute, I thought this dog was...
Oh, jeez, don't...
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, look, it worked. See?
You literally scared me half to death. I jumped over here.
It worked. See? So there you go. It's effective. I know my stuff.
God, Mike.
I know my stuff. What are you going to do? Jesus Christ, Mike. One more outburst like that, you're back on...
I'm back in limbo?
Yeah, you're gonna be on that big vacation we took from Horror Bit again.
Okay.
We're going back to Blog Talk, son.
Oh, please no. I don't want Blog Talk. That's a fate worse than death.
That Blog Talk was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite scenes was when the cop was driving down the dirt road and he sees Jason dart across the road. Awesome.
That poor cop too. It seems like he chases him for about 5 miles, huh?
Yeah, but can I also give an award here for best sound effect that a character makes? When he's running through the woods and he trips on something, he's like,
what? Who did that?
Dude, it's me. Listen, go back, put in Friday the 13th Part 2. And because I don't know if you know, well, the people listening don't know this, and Alex, you might know this, Dan, you might from past experience. But I laugh at the most inopportune times, like when people just make a noise, I'll laugh. Or if they fall unexpectedly, I'll laugh. When I watch Friday the 13th Part 2 and that cop is in the woods and he's running and he hits the tree and he's
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what I really liked about that entire scene? You see someone else chasing Jason for a change, and you don't really see that.
Oh, absolutely, and it sets up, the intro to his house too, which is really creepy too, and I thought that was really effective.
Dude,
you know how we make fun of? I just made fun of how he's running 5 miles in, but the fact of the matter is, it just kind of shows you that it was pretty believable, that he could be living there. Just far enough to where nobody would see him, but, far enough to be out of the way and, but right near the road, so.
Right. You know what I love about it? It's all like weather beaten, and a lot of times when I picture Mike moving out on his own, Michael J, our very own, I feel like that's exactly what his place would look like. What do you think?
Except full of Blu-rays.
And he would have, yes, and he'd have a working toilet bowl, maybe, and he'd have a hot plate.
And it would need to have gigantic pipes because I dropped gigantic deuces.
Hey, listen, if you're gonna talk about punching slugs, you got to pick a different show, pal.
No.
We're not talking about that here. This is a very clean show. Now let's get back to that girl's ass in the lake.
All right.
Okay. Does anyone else find it disturbing that Jason took his mom's pants off to put them on that shrine?
Wait, did he?
Yes.
Where are her pants? I never saw her pants.
Right under her sweater, basically. He actually, like as if you laid your clothes out to see how they look before you go out to a club.
And that's really her pants?
Yeah, and even, do you have that 25th anniversary little thing that...
I certainly do.
Okay, when they're both standing there, look at that, and the pants are there.
Actually, I can look at it. It's actually right here.
All right, get up off your knees.
I am getting up off my knees, and my knees are, really hurting right now.
Hey, listen.
Good Lord.
I got indentations in the floor. Here, hold on to me.
God only knows why he does shows like that.
I'm putting the light on. Yeah, I see them. There are pants.
Yep. What do you think?
I confirm, pants.
Now let's walk through this whole thing. Jason's mom's dead. Her head's laying 5 feet from her body.
Yes.
He pulls her into his shack, puts her head in the middle of the table, takes her...
Do you think that he really... Wait, whoa. You know what? Here's the thing. Obviously, in Friday the 13th Part 2, they're at Packanack Lodge, is it?
That's right, Packanack Lodge.
And in Friday the 13th, they're at Crystal Lake, right? So
yes.
Obviously they're close.
Well, it's on the same lake.
Right, but Jason's shack is probably more on the Packanack side, I think.
Right.
I don't think he drug her through the woods. I think he did an old-fashioned fireman carry.
Oh, my God. That's what you were contesting?
Yeah.
Mike, one more time, you're off the show.
Yeah, I just fell asleep.
Oh, my God. I think everybody just clicked off this. Oh.
You think so?
Oh, my God. Okay, anyway. You freaking son of a... All right. In that final scene, remember when they're, pulling away from the shrine, and you see the head and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Jason's mother's head. I'm sorry, I have to be, people don't hear what's in my head. And they're pulling away. I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but if for some who don't, then I'll tell you. They actually put an actress up through the table, and she was wearing a mask. Mike, what's that sound?
Ow. Hold on.
Can we be professional? Are you professional or not?
Yeah, that sounds better. That's
okay.
better.
Thank you. Okay. Anyway. I just can't work like this. Okay, anyway. Yeah. When they're pulling away, they actually had an actress sit under the table wearing the mask of what Jason's mother's head would look like. And what they were going to do was, when they pulled away, she was going to wink at the camera. But luckily, the genius Steve Miner decided this was going to be like a hokey thing that would cheapen the movie's impact.
Oh, thankfully.
Thank you, Steve. And I'm going to hate you for the next movie, but thank you so much for saving this one.
Yeah, and that music at the end, too, is memorable.
Yes. The music in the first two movies is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
but the third one is pretty much the same thing. Actually,
Yeah.
1 through 5 kind of use the same cue. Actually, no.
No, 5 is a little too
1
much.
1 through 6 use almost the same cues. 7, they kind of, well, because 7 is a different guy, but we'll get into that later.
It represents the 80s just so
It does.
perfectly.
Yeah, well, the beginning of part 3 does in a bad way.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more, sir.
Yes. I really hate how people chalk up the end of part 2 as a dream just because part 3 dismissed it. Like, how much better is it of an ending if Jason really jumped through that window and got Ginny? What the hell kind of ending is hitting...
Yeah, but obviously he didn't because she's wheeled away. Unless they had her, being wheeled out in a body bag.
Well, that's the mystery of Paul. Now, Dan, do you think Paul died? Because remember how Ginny was like, Paul?
Yeah, see, I don't think he did, no. And I believe I saw in an interview somewhere that as far as Amy Steele was concerned, that he did not die, no.
Right, good. Okay. Now,
and honestly, I think that's her opinion, and I totally agree with that because I think if they were going to kill him off, they would have done it in a more shocking way. Because let's face it, he was one of the lead guys, made it to the end, and not that it was necessarily shocking that he died at that point, but shocking that it would happen maybe in a moment where you didn't expect it, a shocking moment, so you think, okay, this guy might last, I don't know, and then they would have got him big time. Now, see, that's why I don't think they did it that way. Right. I think they went the other way with it,
and they also left it open.
Exactly. Yep, they definitely did, and I like that, and I like how they did that. To be perfectly honest with you, I like movies that leave it open, that aren't definitive, because let's face it, at that point too, they didn't know where number 3 was going to go, and
right.
It's same with Adrian King in the first one going on to the second. You never know who's going to come back for a quote unquote Drew Barrymore role, so you got to keep it open. And I think they were smart of them.
Yeah, who knows who would come back and drag out the first 20 minutes of part 3?
Absolutely. See, absolutely.
Luckily, nobody. All right.
Exactly.
So let's get to the funny things, if you guys have any, like what the F moments, like we like to do here at the Skeleton Crew, at Rabbit and Blue for now. And well, my what the F moment, I think, what was I thinking before? Oh, yeah, right. When Jason kills Ralph, did you notice he just kind of comes down with his hands and pulls the barbed wire over his throat? How did he get it around the top of the tree?
I think maybe he swung it from one hand to the other, like...
But they showed that, if you recall, they showed that in part 5. Remember when he throws the strap around the tree, grabs it, and twists it and pops the guy's head? Like, in this one, it just kind of comes down.
That's right. You know what, Alex? I'm glad you said that because I was confusing that in my head with that scene. So you're right.
Right.
That's a good question. I have no idea. That's a good one. Good question.
You any what the F moments in this for you guys, or
I have one.
This is a pretty legit movie. Oh, you got one. Okay.
I have one. Why would Jason take the time to pose the corpses of Sandra and Jeff?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you said that, Mike. I don't know the answer, but I do have something to ponder. Did you ever notice? I'm sure everybody did. I always talk like I'm the only one who, because I don't have friends to talk to this one about. But
I would say left and kickball.
Yeah, exactly. So, did you ever notice that there was a corpse with an ice pick in its head leaning against the table? Oh, you did. So I'm just an asshole. Okay.
Well, no. I remember. No. I've heard about this before. That's why I'm saying
it. All right. How about
another moment? Can I bring up real quick?
Oh, absolutely, Dan. Please.
I gotta mention this too. And you guys are gonna kill me. What is the assistant's name who stays at the bar?
Stu.
Ted.
Stu. That's his real name.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Now that
Stu Charno is his real name.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, to me, he's in, just one of the guys. He's in a bunch of those.
I love this guy. I love when he was getting bombed. What do you have, like 15 beers next to him?
Yeah. He's like, yes,
yeah, Paul. Oh, yeah, he was saving him. Yeah. And, she didn't want the bar to fall over on him. And so I'm just surprised that, he was a great character. He was one of the main characters, and then, look at what happened there. Look at what happened there. It was just like, okay, took a left turn, I thought he was definitely going to get it. Like I said, he was a central character. He was the goofball. He's the one who freaking jumped out of the woods in the beginning and scared everybody.
Yes.
It's like, of course this guy's going to get it. Oh, no, he didn't get it. And actually, on top of that, he's getting bombed. So that sends a mixed message, though, too, because in these horror movies, they establish if you drink, do drugs, and have sex, you're going to die.
Yeah, well, luckily Michael J. will live forever if that's the...
You're good, Mike. You are good, brother.
I am good.
Yeah, Mike's going to be the next Methuselah.
You're damn right. Methuselah Michael J. Michael J. Methuselah. That's it.
Well, he obviously wasn't having sex, but he was getting bombed, so that kind of contradicts the series. Oh, and another moment, I totally forgot about this one, too. How about the poor guy in the wheelchair?
Oh, that's the best. That's easily the best kill in the film right there. The best is, as soon as the gimp dies, it goes right to people coming.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Right.
Yes.
It's like...
Well, hey, listen, it's a moment of ecstasy in everyone's life when we see another gimp bite the dust.
I love it. It's the best part of the film. Like, I'm cheering. I cheer every time. Like, when I watch the movie, I'm like I still watch it now, and I'm like, yeah, get him.
How can you say that? Listen, the poor guy's pushing himself around for who God knows how long. What do you say? It was a motorcycle accident?
Whichever. Whatever he deserved to get it. That's all.
Oh, my God, listen to this guy. So anyway, yeah, Mike wants to be the only gimp that gets attention and pity.
Right.
Can we mention too the sets in particular in this one? The place where they were all staying on the deck, and the parking lot area. It was basically just one spot. They didn't have a lot of setups. It was basically that, and even when the what's his name's going over all the activities,
Paul.
And Paul, when he's giving his lecture, they're all right there. So it's basically that's it. And I think that's one of the best sets in all of the series. I mean, if you think about it, there's no central sets except number 4, which I think is the definitive set of all the Friday the 13th movies, but this is definitely a close second. I love that huge, wide deck and just everything,
Right. And if I'm glad you pointed that out, when they were calling everybody for that meeting, when he rang the bell, those kids were running up the stairs that wheelchair guy eventually rolled down to his demise. And you know what's great about, like you said, the cinematography, how amazing it was? The best that you really don't see was when they freeze framed it, and then like what they do, zoom away or something like that? Or
it was like a dissolve.
Yeah, did they pull in or zoom away? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
No, actually, no, they pulled back.
Back, right.
They pulled back, and you just kind of like saw the chair kind of like fall into frame.
Right, yeah.
Gotta love the 80s.
Yeah, and I remember I brought this up. We interviewed... how can we not talk... Russell Todd. How can we not talk about him? He shot the chick in the ass, man. That guy was cool. I liked him. And so we interviewed him, and I was talking to him about that. Remember that one shot? They panned across the entire deck at night and showed every single character, and they all hit their points perfectly. And then it eventually went to Paul saying, "Okay, everybody, this is your last night, to go do whatever you want, blah blah." That was a great scene. A lot of people overlooked that. That was
Thank you.
That was
I'm so happy you said that, Alex. That's one of my favorite scenes too. It's perfect.
One continuous shot. It lasted like 3 minutes maybe.
Right.
And that's it has to do with character development too, because at that point you were so invested in all of these characters. They're all very likable.
Yep.
Which and like I said too, I think number 4 is character-wise is the strongest, but I think this one is a close second. You care about pretty much everybody up there. Even the jerk guy. Well, I'm sorry, the guy you interviewed. Even he was likable.
I loved him, dude. I loved him.
Exactly. So I just I wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, his name was Scott, and he had a great kill. Also, everybody always talks about how the blade was upside down when it cut his throat when he was hanging from the tree.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and you know what I'm really kind of upset about? He told us that when that blood was gushing out of his neck, it poured up his nose and his eyes and a little bit in his mouth, and we don't even see that.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Well, that was cut, probably. That was part of the
48
48 seconds that were cut.
Yeah. Can you believe that? Like, really?
It's ridiculous, really. And you know what? If the movie was released today, there'd be no cut.
Oh,
I guarantee.
please. And you know what's real sad? Back then, the term cutting room floor was literal. And
right.
when those things, when that film hit the floor, man, some jerk-off swept it into a garbage can, and that's it. There is no bonus footage.
Exactly. I just think it's a great film overall. You know, if you look through the history of the whole series, it's probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, one in the whole series.
Definitely, I think it's perfectly tied with Part 4.
Right.
Oh, absolutely, and I can't wait to get into that one.
Yes, and unfortunately, we have to go through 3 to get to 4.
The greatest film ever. We will discuss that next.
No, we're going to argue about it next.
Yeah.
A little trivia I remember about this movie was that in the first scene, when the kid's like, "Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout," and then you see Jason take a step in that puddle of water when he's making his way to Alice's house, which we have no idea how he knew where she lived, and or how he tracked her down. But
yeah, they didn't have the internet.
Yeah, that was actually a woman playing that part. That was that.
Oh,
walker.
really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was the film's costume designer or something like that. Another thing that people gripe about is that Jason is dressed exactly like the killer from The Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1976. Do you guys know that already, or what?
His
Yep.
the sack was, but I didn't know about the rest of it.
It was like a farmer get-up, just like...
Oh, yeah,
But it makes sense, though. It makes sense for both movies, so I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, I get it, and, but honestly, which is the better movie? And, obviously that's debatable, but a lot of people, I think, would say Friday the 13th. So, really, I definitely know what you're saying, though, Alex. There's a good chance that they did copy it off him, but I'll tell you, that is an effective look. Like I said before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it.
When I first saw that, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, I don't care where they got the look, honestly.
Right.
Okay, do you want to get into the whole Steve Dash, Warrington Gillette thing?
I was just going to wonder when you were going to get into that.
Okay, so as everybody, I hope, listening to this knows, Steve Dash played Jason through the entire movie, and Warrington Gillette played him only when he jumped through the window at the end. They thought he was terrible, everybody on the movie, so they fired Warrington, but in his contract, it was stated that he gets credited as Jason, which is a normal thing. I guess they should have went back and, changed things, I don't know. But
yeah, they should have.
Steve Dash and this guy, so Steve Dash has been signing his autograph as Steve Dash, the real Jason Voorhees, for like 15 years.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And so what do you guys think about that? Is this guy Warrington a dirtbag, or is he just a guy who just had circumstances that,
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
I'm saying, but Warrington Gillette, to take his credit.
The biggest douchebag move was, Mike, wasn't he in like the bonus features of like a Friday the 13th disc or something? And he completely acted like he did the whole movie.
Yeah, in the box set that came out in 2004, there was something, the Friday the 13th Chronicles or something, where they had like a separate featurette on the first 8 movies.
Yeah.
And he basically
talked like
like he was Jason, like he did everything. But the only thing that he went into detail about was, the scene at the end of the movie when he jumps through the window and how they had to keep doing take after take after take after take because they just couldn't get it right.
Well, I interviewed him years ago, probably 2005, and he said that they swung him through and he didn't break through the window and he just like fell flat back. And I said, what did everybody do? And he goes,
I heard Amy Steele hated that scene too, and it took a lot of coaxing in order for her to do reshoots on it because they didn't get it the first night.
Yeah.
It was just a horrible scene all around for everybody for, like you said, technical reasons.
Everything.
And
I used to love that. Like, this is the movie I had when I was 11 years old. My dad like rented it from a video store and he copied it, and that's the only Jason I had. And it was weird growing up because I was like, how come I have a Jason movie but he doesn't have that hockey mask on? You know, like that's pretty weird. And I remember in the nights in the summertime, I used to always put this movie on when I was like 11, 12 years old. And that scene where he jumped through the window, man, I remember I used to like pause it and watch it in slow-mo. I was so fascinated by his face. It was so like realistic to me at the time, you know, as a kid. And it was like really scary. And that's another point of this movie I want to get into. Like it's full of scary scenes. My mom has jumped at parts of this movie.
Absolutely.
That like one scene that like sends chills up my spine was like when Ginny and Paul were in that dark room, and she's like, Paul, there's someone in this fucking room. And, like, Jason comes up, like, that's scary shit, man.
And how about when she goes in the bed and he jumps up when he's in the bed?
Oh, yeah. When he
sits up?
Yeah, he sits up and he slashes Vicky's leg open.
Oh, that's it.
That scared the hell out of me, I remember.
Or, I got the other one. How about when she's under the bed in the one cabin thing, and he's in there, and she sees the mouse, and she pisses her pants, and you see the piss, and then he just, like, she comes out, and he's like, ooh, and he goes to get her with the pitchfork. That's
another good one.
I was good. I have a debate for you guys.
Yeah.
Did you not think that rat pissed?
No, I always thought that was her piss, because rats don't piss like that.
Actually, I think they do, Mike, the way it shot out. And here's another reason that I think that it was the rat. If you literally, let's just say you piss your pants, does a stream of water really come out, or do your pants become completely saturated in urine?
Yeah, but dude, exactly. I pissed my pants before.
Okay.
Dude, I thought it was the rat, to be honest with you. Yeah, I didn't think it was plausible.
Wait, Dan, don't gloss over this. Mike, you pissed your pants before, really?
Yeah, I pissed my pants, and there's like a stream of piss that comes out onto your pants. Like, I felt it shoot out of my,
And were we stuck in a car and...
No, I was in second grade.
Oh, well, that's nice.
And the teacher was in the middle of teaching, and I had to go to the bathroom, but I didn't want to raise my hand, so I figured I'm sitting at the desk, and I'm like, I can just let this happen. And I went, and a little puddle formed beside my desk. And it was almost like, when I think of that, I'm like, hey, it really can happen, because I remember when that happened, my mind flashed that scene in Friday 2, and I'm like, hey, it is real.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Where were we? Scary scenes, yeah. You know what I really love? Like, subtle scary scenes, like when he's dragging Vicky's body down the stairs and her feet just keep, like, plunking down the stairs. Like, that's pretty creepy.
Oh, yeah.
I love
subtle
subtle
stuff.
cool. And, like, one of my favorite subtle scary stuff is, like, when it starts to rain in that movie and you see the first few drops hit the leaf and then the top of that, like, lamp.
Alex, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's honestly one of my favorite little transitions, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Because, it's almost like, all right, here we go. And, it was setting the template of, what's going to go down. There's a storm coming, and here we go. And, and it's just great. That's like, and a lot of movies have done that too. Not as effective, but that's just one of those things that, kind of gets swept under the rug. Not too many people notice, but that's setting up some epic scenes that, obviously at the time they didn't know how well it was going to do, but it goes down in history as one of the best endings, I think.
Yeah, cinematic, perfect, it's just perfect. When Ginny sees the doorknob turning and he stops trying to get in, and then she goes to the window and she reaches on each side of her, and she keeps looking at the doorknob, and she's right about, and all of a sudden his hand busts right through the window and goes to grab her. My mom, I watched that with my mom twice in like the span of like one time, maybe 2 or 3 years later, and both times she jumped. Like it's.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, when he jumps through the window and goes to grab her, is he wearing the sack or is he wearing something else? Because that does not look like the burlap sack on his head. It looks too dirty to be the sack.
No, he's wearing the sack, yeah.
But what, did it get dirty or something? Because it doesn't look like the same sack.
It's probably wet. It's a little darker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about that.
And the creepy shots of and the music they play when she's running from him, and they keep showing the moon, and they show him running, then they show the moon again, that.
Oh, that's one of my favorite sequences, Alex.
Yeah, great stuff. And of course the big window crash scene at the end that we already talked about. That's obviously freaking awesome. All right, well, you know what? We ran a little long this one. That means that this was a jam-packed episode, so let's not even do any hottest girls. Okay, we'll do hottest girls. That ass perfect, right? We all agree?
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that ass.
Okay, perfect couple. Sandra and Jeff, right? Or
Right, okay.
Jenny and Paul. Jenny and Paul.
Oh, actually, Jenny and Paul, you're right.
Okay.
I'll say Sandra and Jeff only because they died. No. Mark and Terry. No. Her name, no, Mark and Vicky. I'm sorry,
Mark and Vic. I thought you said
Whoa.
This guy just said he hates Mark 5 minutes ago.
I do, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to see the guy happy.
Oh my
That's
God.
shame that he
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, he just wants him dead, but he wants him happy. Well, I guess he will be.
I just wish he would have gotten laid first before he got off. That's all.
Exactly. I was going to say that. Come on, let the guy blow a load.
He wouldn't be able to feel it, but it doesn't matter.
Mike, say your favorite line. Did you get done at least blowing it first?
That's from my movie.
Mike has a movie where some guy says, "I just got done banging your sister." Yeah,
Camp Out Nightmare 6.
Yeah, Camp Out Nightmare 6. You could all watch that on YouTube if you have an hour and a half to kill.
Hour and 27 minutes.
I'm sorry. That I edited from an hour and 58 minutes?
No, 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Holy Christ. Can you believe he thought that movie was so good he couldn't edit a minute out of there? And I cut it down to half.
Keep this must stay in.
Yeah, and I got it to half the amount of time. It's still good.
Right.
All right.
You should take that line and use that somewhere. That just get that at least blowing it first.
I will try to edit in the show if I have to.
How is it? Is it good for you?
Come on. Perfect. What do you want, don't you know? Things to do.
What? Get home and finish fucking my sister? Did you get done at least blowing it first?
So let's not worry
Good.
about that.
All right. Fine.
Okay, we'll do it real quick because this is a long episode. The best kill, I'm going to say the wheelchair, right?
Yes.
Okay, Dan. You
Yeah.
got the wheelchair. You got Vicky. You got the. You know what's really messed up? The one kill is off screen. The girl with the ass, Terry.
Terry, yeah.
Yeah, what happened with her? I forget. Please refresh my memory. Yeah.
Yeah, she just screamed and kind of went into the camera, and that was it.
That was it.
That's right. Yeah, that was kind of lame. I don't like stuff like that. You know, if you're gonna have a slasher, then let it be a slasher. But I understand what they're doing at the same time because they don't want to just do the kill. They want to be suspenseful at the same time. So I see it. I get it.
Right.
I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it.
Oh, I lost plenty of sleep over that.
Restless night.
Do you want to rate it, too?
Yes, let's rate this movie. Well, this in the realm of what we're doing on this special, Friday the 13th special on Horror Bid, this is a 10.
I give it an 8. I'll keep it with the 8.
Okay.
I'll split the difference and say a 9, just because if you gotta rate them all, I think it's kind of a weird thing to do a bunch of 10s. So I'm gonna say 9 and save my 10 for
your favorite one. And don't tell us your favorite. Let the people.
Well, I think I said it a few times. I think it's evident, but number 4.
Oh, did you? I don't pay attention to anything anybody says but me.
Yeah, right?
No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's Jason Takes Manhattan.
I love you. Yes.
No, yeah, number 4, but I can't wait to get into that one. So,
I know,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I knew that. All right. Well, that was it. We hope you enjoyed the second installment of the Friday the 13th special. We really have no good name for this, so we're just going to call it that.
12 Days of Friday the 13th.
Ah, right. Oh, there you go. The 12 Days of Friday the 13th. We hope you enjoyed segment number 2, Friday the 13th, Part 2, 1981. So this is Alex.
Michael J.
And
Dan Chase.
And we will see you tomorrow for the breakdown of Friday the 13th, Part 3D.
What if there is a Jason? bullshit, Ginny.
No, what if there is some kind of boy or beast running around Camp Crystal Lake? I mean, let's try to think beyond the legend, put it in real terms. I mean, what would he be like today? Some kind of out-of-control psychopath? A frightened retard? A child trapped in a man's body?
From the beginning, you saw the evolution of this guy.
Oh,
The
when
fact
that
is kind of
when that mask came on that first time with that one eye sticking out, that was some creepy shit.
Yeah, definitely. Now, in this movie, he was about 33 or 34. Okay, it raises questions. Here's my first biggest... I think this is the biggest mystery of Jason Voorhees ever. Why didn't Jason go back to his mother after he survived that drowning? If he's alive in part 2 at that age, obviously he didn't really drown. So, if he just, was treading water, coughing a little bit, crawled over to the beach, and was like, shit, I almost died,
I got it.
Okay,
I got
why
it.
didn't he go back to mother? Go ahead.
His mother.
Welcome to Rabbit and Blue Radio with the Skeleton Crew, exclusively at horrorbid.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rabbit and Blue Radio with the Skeleton Crew. This is Alex.
Michael J.
And our special guest host,
Dan Chase.
Alright, Friday 13th Part 2. Now, this is my personal favorite Friday 13th, and as you guys know, the friggin' MPAA censored this movie to death. 48 seconds were cut. Now, I don't know if you guys know anything about editing, but that is an incredible amount of time.
It is.
Oh, absolutely. It's my favorite too, by the way, Alex. It's I think that and 4 are tied for the best. It's beyond good.
Yeah, this movie, to me, you know how like people love Nightmare 1, Halloween 1, Texas Chainsaw 1, and if you think about it, that was the first introduction to their favorite killers. Well,
right.
Clearly this is Jason's really. It's just like part 1,
Yep.
Because you can't really say you loved him in the first movie. He just jumped out of the water.
Yeah, it just doesn't count. I don't care what anybody says. It's considered a dream sequence. It didn't count. So, number 2, the resurgence of Jason. It's iconic. It's legendary. It's epic.
Yeah, it is epic, and having no hockey mask even makes it more. It makes it feel like you were there.
Mother smothered him, and he couldn't stand being with her. And he wanted to prove to everyone that he could make it on his own.
But his whole life seems to be based on his mother. I mean, he killed.
No. He hates his mother. I mean, I think he has like a deep-seated resentment towards his mother. And then when he sees his mother get decapitated, that just triggers something, and he's just thinking, well, you know what? I should have done it myself.
So you think he has the Norman Bates effect, where Norman was obsessed with his mother, but at the same time he resented her?
Most definitely.
Really? It's amazing how parallel Friday 13th is to Psycho. It's very loosely